Right. So, what I'm discussing today, because this is all about Guideware development, uh, what we need to discuss from today onwards. In regard to that, before I'm getting into Guideware developer role, let me explain what exactly Guideware is all about. Because, of course, you might be knowing about the basics of Guideware, but still, let me start with it. So, Guideware is a kind of property and casualty insurance based application widely using by the organizations who are belongs to property and casualty insurance. Normally, insurance sector will be classified into two parts. One is about health insurance. The rest is all comes under P&C insurance. Health insurance, that is a different thing altogether. But when it comes to the other insurances, general insurance, life annuity, marine insurance, vehicle insurance, all these things are comes under property and casualty insurance. So these are the two things. Now, when it comes to the property and casualty insurance, any insurance company, if they wants to manage their business activities in regular intervals, they have to depend on some applications. Okay. So let's say, for example, if you have taken an insurance company wants to renew the policies of the customer who has already taken the policy, or else a new customer, they want to update the records of the policy, or else they want to make some changes in the existing policy records which customer has given by changing his mobile number or mailing address or something of that sort. So there are different business activities which normally a property and casualty insurance organization performs. For that, there are different modules are required. There are different features are needed. So each and every feature has its own importance. So to use it, there are different applications we have in the market. There are two to three major applications we have in the market. One is Guidewire. Guidewire is a product, I can say, property and casualty insurance related application or a product widely used across industry. Another one we call it as Duck Creek and Majesco, right? So there were many, but I'm just naming few. Okay, Guidewire, Duck Creek, Majesco. These are the different products we are using to develop the products, to develop the applications. Like so, these applications we are using so that whatever the business process activity you want to be performed, everything can be done. In this, there are three major features we have in Guidewire. Now coming to the Guidewire. Guidewire is an application by itself. It's a product by itself. This Guidewire application have three features, or else you can also call it as three modules. Okay, three modules we have. We have many other modules for Guideware as well, but these are the three major modules you can see. The first one about the policy center module. Second one is called billing module. The third one is called claims module, right? So three different modules we have. So policy center is a module which majorly used as a policy administration module. Means if you want to manage the policy records, if you want to update the policy records, or else if you want to create any new policies, or else if you want to edit any policy details or something, or if you want to send any reminders to the customers, everything can be done using policy center, right? So policy center will be used for day-to-day activities, means sending reminders to the people whoever is near to the policy deadlines, right? So all these things are comes under policy center. This is point number one. So next one about the billing part. Billing is a module which is majorly used for the billing purpose. Means if there is any kind of billing happen, right? Where a person has paid the renewal, premium renewal or something, XYZ, all that stuff. So whatever the financial transactions do we have, all these things are comes under the billing part. That is point number two. Point number three, claim center. Claim center means whatever the claims related stuff. Claim management, claim adjudication. All these things are comes under the claim center point of means, for example, a person has taken an insurance plan, a vehicle insurances. A vehicle insurance has taken, that vehicle has got met with an accident. Against to the damages which was happened for the vehicle, they wants to insure it. They want to process the claim. So whatever the processing of the claims we do and whatever the adjudication followed by claim settlements, everything comes under the claim center. So these are the three major features we see in Guidewire. One is about the policy center, managing all the policy records, right? So sending some renewals, if there is any kind of editings, we can be done. All these things are comes under the policy center part. Second one, billing, right? So whatever the required billing that are to be performed, everything comes under the billing. When it comes to the claim center, what is the claim processing adjudication? Everything comes under the claim center. So these are the three different features do we have when it comes to the Guidewire part. Now, apart from the features which I have mentioned here, and normally any individual can ask, because this is a generalized question anyone will come across. What are the different roles we have when we are working on Guidewire? Okay, this is a common question. Of course, we are dealing with developer role, but normally people will have some doubt, right? So what are the different roles you see in Guidewire? Because there are lot of business opportunity, lot of job opportunities we see in Guidewire. So that what are the different roles do we have now and then when we are using the Guidewire application? Okay. So normally now and then we have different Guidewire jobs are available. So these Guidewire jobs are as follows. Because it depends on the job profile to job profile, whatever the activities are we going to perform will vary. Okay, it will not be the same all the time. Now, when it comes to the Guidewire jobs, there are different roles we have. The one is about the business analyst role. Second, we have a developer roles. Third, we have an admin role. Or we have architect role. Okay, so these are the four different roles we see in Guidewire. Do remember, Iman, when it comes to the Guidewire application, as I mentioned you, we have three modules as I stated: policy center, billing, and claims. Apart from these three, there were many other modules. Of course, that is not something relevant now. I will be explaining those later. But along with this, when you talk about the Guidewire especially, we have four different roles: business analyst, developer, admin, and architect. So what a business analyst role is? Business analyst is a kind of role who majorly gather the requirements. I'll give you a scenario for you. Let's say XYZ is a insurance company having a policy administration software for a very long time. They have their own policy management application. They're using to manage policies and all everything for a very long time. Assume that. Now, organization is planning for a business expansion to the next level. They are planning and they want to add some new services to their existing business, where they want to expand their services to the next level. That is what their idea was. Now, in this regard, so they have chosen to develop a Guidewire application, means they want some Guidewire application in spite of policy management application, old policy management application. They want some new Guidewire application they want to see. Either it can be policy center or it can be billing or claims, because advantage in Guidewire is, first of all, Guidewire is a cloud application, point number one. So the advantage in cloud application is that you don't require to install it in the system, because normally applications will be two types. One is on-premise applications, second is cloud-based applications. We have many other, but majorly two. One is on-premise, second is cloud-based. What is on-premise? On-premise means there is a project or an application which you have to be installed in the workstations, systems, laptops, and all that. You need to install it in the system. To manage that application, you require some server. Local server will be there. Means data centers will be maintained by the organizations. There will be a data center as separate for that. And whatever the applications they are managing, everything will be managed by the data center. And that's what generally happen. Okay, there will be a data center. All these people manages the data center, especially banking and financial organizations. Majorly they use on-premise solutions. I don't say 100%, but maximum extent possible, they go for on-premise, because huge financial data will be maintained. So that what they do, they create their own data centers, and whatever their applications they have, everything will be managed there. By having some firewall protection, etc., they'll manage it. That is what generally they do. That is what generally happen. So data centers, this is what we call it as on-premise, means you are developing an application, because being into Guidewire development, we must be knowing all these. Okay, so we develop the application and we'll install this in the client system. So that client will use the application. To manage that application, there will be a server located somewhere, that through that server access, they manage the application. These are all we call it as on-premise. Second one is called cloud applications. Cloud application means you don't require to install this in any of the laptop or a desktop or a workstation or somewhere. It's a cloud account. Means simply there will be a cloud account, user ID, password will be given. So simply you can log in and you can use the application. So Guidewire has the advantage, because Guidewire is an application. It's a cloud application, Guidewire Cloud Studio. So that we can simply log into the cloud account and we can use it. That's what generally the advantage you see in context to the Guidewire is. So coming back to the point, right? So let's say organization is using some old policy management application for a very long time. Now, due to the business expansion, what they were identified or what they are planning in near future, they are planning to take Guidewire application into the organization. They wants to install Guidewire application. So when there is an installation happen, normally there is two things we have. One is configuration, second is integration. One is configuration, second is integration. What is configuration? Configuration means you want to install Guidewire application in your organization. According to your organization business rules and government mandates, you have to configure the application within your organization limits. That's what generally we call it as configuration, which stands for. Configuration means you are buying Guidewire application and you are customizing it according to your organization business rules and government mandates. This is what we call it as configuration stands for. And whatever the data migration, right? So everything comes under this category. Second one is called integration. Integration means you are integrating Guidewire application with some other applications. For example, we are using some customer relationship management application called Salesforce. Now what we want to do, we want to connect Guidewire application with Salesforce. So we want to connect that. So when we are connecting Guidewire application with Salesforce, so that whatever the Salesforce customer relationship management processes you want to be performed, everything can be performed here. That's where we call it as integration stands for. Means you are integrating Guidewire application with some other applications. This is what we call it as integration stands for. So these are the two things we have. One is configuration, second is called integration. Now, as far as the role of a business analyst, because I'm explaining about what are the different roles we have in Guidewire, that's what I'm explaining to have a better understanding for you before we are going into the developer perspective. So when it comes to the role of business analysts are the people who will be gathering the requirements. Means what are the business rules organization is having, what kind of customization are they expecting, and how to do the customization. That requirements will be gathered by the business analyst, so that those requirements will be addressed and given to the development team, so that development team will write the code for the particular functionalities whatever are needed. Okay, this is what comes under the role of a BA. So business analyst means gathering the requirements, translating into a documentation format or user story format, etc. So then it will be given to the development team, so that development team will develop the application logics accordingly later. That's what the role of a BA. Second, developer roles. What is developer role? Developer is a role where we have to write a code for the project. Let's say there is some user interface, right? So policy management application where there is a policy document where we are updating all the policy document details in the screen. You may be required to make some changes in particular user interfaces, whatever we have, small changes you want to do it. If you want to make some changes in between, what is required? There must be a developer who are required to write code for the project, coding. They have to write the coding. Means application business logic, right? So because you have to provide some instructions to the system, so that system will understand your instructions and it will give you the result. How come we do? That is where generally language come into picture. That language is called programming language. Because, for example, you and me were speaking here. So we are speaking in a language called English, which you and me can understand well. But how come a system understands? Because system is an entity. System has to understand the instructions what was given by us, right? So what are all we are given? System should understand. How come system understand all these? That's where generally programming language come into picture. Programming programming is a language where system can understand what are we giving, right? So what are the instructions we are giving? System can understand. So if there is any kind of changes to be made into the existing application, any changes and all everything will be done by the developer. So developers are the people who develop the code for a particular functionality, whichever is proposed by the BA. Okay, that's where generally we call it as a role called developer role. Developer role is relating to that stuff. So if we are a developer role, we must be having some technical knowledge. We must be having some programming knowledge, right? So we must be having some knowledge over the APIs and integrations, because as in when sometime back I told you, when we want integrating Guidewire application with some other applications, some CRM applications or something, when we are integrating, there must be some integration has to happen in between. So when there is an integration happen in between, it's always important for us to create some APIs and all that. So that's where generally knowledge over the APIs, all these things were required for a developer. Okay, so developmental job, right? So is what something they do. They must be knowing about the coding part. They must be knowing about API integrations, etc. So apart from the modules, whatever we have, right? So how it functions. Apart from that, This is where generally the developer roles are majorly is all about. And what exclusive a developer do and what are their responsibilities, right? So what kind of skill set they want to acquire, that I'll explain later, okay? Detailed explanation about the developer role that I will be explaining in the coming session, okay? But this is an overall glimpse I'm giving you, okay? I hope you understood. The third we call it as admin role. Admin means application configurations. At the same time, application, if you want to install any application, what are the backend things like creating some filters, workflows, right? So all these things are comes under the admin role, administration, I can say. Admin or administration role, it is all about. Whatever the administrative activities we require to perform in the backend, everything will be done under the admin role. This is one more role, administration, right? So backend application changes in the backend, everything will comes under the admin part. Next role is called Guidewire architect role. Architect means developing solution. For example, you want to develop a solution for a project or a problem. There must be a technical roadmap is required. Let's say, for example, you are constructing a building. Let me give you a simple way so that you will be understood well. Let's say you want to construct a building. You bought a piece of land. You have enough manpower to construct the building. You have enough financial resources. Are these were sufficient for you? No. Apart from that, what is required? Apart from that, you require some architecture. Blueprint of the building is needed. Blueprint of the building. So blueprint of the building will give you a clear understanding over how the building looks like externally, how the building looks like internally, floor plans, all these things will be there. So without having these plans, even though you have enough manpower and financial resources, developing an application won't be possible. So architects are required. So architects are the people who develop architecture for the project. Means technical roadmap has to be created by an architect. This is what something which normally architects do. So this is also one of the key and important role which normally we will be having. This is what we call it as architect role stands for. Means developing architecture for the project, technical architecture for the project. All these things are comes under the architect role. So these are the different roles we see, right? So these are the different roles we have, as well as requirements which normally we have in context to the Guidewire application is concerned. One is about the business analyst from the P&C domain point of view. Okay, from the P&C domain point of view or P&C insurance point of view. One is business analyst role, who will be taking care of the requirements, etc. All that. Developers, whoever is writing the program, business logic for application, etc. Admin roles, who will be taking care of the administrative activities, etc. Architect roles, who will be taking care of the architecture, technical architecture of the project will be taken care of the architects. So these are the different roles we have when it comes to the Guidewire application is concerned. Of course, every role has its own importance. That's a different thing because business analyst roles are different. Developers, admin, architects, right? So every role has its own importance. That's a different thing altogether. But this is the overall understanding in context to the Guidewire application. As far as the features are concerned, one is about the policy center part, as is stated. Policy center majorly useful for managing the policies, etc. Policy records, renewals, etc. Billing, which will be taken care of the billing part, etc. Followed by claims. So these are the three major features or the modules we have in Guidewire. But advantage in Guidewire is that you don't require to buy all these three. Okay, because why this is more popular in the industry, because Guidewire application you don't require to buy all the three. For example, you have a requirement only for policy center, you can buy only policy center. You don't require to buy billing and claims. Or else if you have a requirement only for claims, you can opt for only claims. You don't need to buy the remaining two. Any one, two, or three can be taken. Is it clear, Iman? Understood?
Yes, yes.
Right. Okay. Apart from the other ones, right? So apart from the Guidewire, when it comes to the integration part, generally Guidewire, there were other add-on modules which you must be knowing. Of course, these modules are not something related and required now, but you must be knowing, right? So what are the different modules we have in Guidewire? As far as the Guidewire is concerned, apart from policy center, billing and claims, there will be other modules also. As I'm stating again, it is not relevant and related here, but I'm explaining to have a overall understanding. Apart from policy center, Guidewire and billing, we have one more module called rating management. Means if you want to provide any rating for your policies, right? So you have to calculate the rate for your policy, whatever the policy you are planning to produce, right? So you need to give some rating for that. This is all comes under the rating management part. You want to provide some rating and all everything to that. That is all comes under the rating management. Next one is called reinsurance management. Reinsurance management means if there is any kind of reinsurances which we wants to be performed for claim center or a policy center and all. So that's where generally we have to have reinsurance management. If you want to perform reinsurance management, there must be a policy center licenses which are essentially required. This is point number 2. The third one about client data management means this is where generally contact data management will be useful. Means if you want to use any kind of Guidewire core applications and all, this customer contact data management is also one of the module which prominently we will be using when we are working on the application. This is also one of the key element. Client data management is relating to that stuff. Next, product content management. Product content management majorly facilitates to implement and maintain different insurance products, because apart from the Guidewire, there may be other insurance products will be available in the industry, right? So if they wants to maintain and implement any other products apart from this, generally product content management is also included in this. So this is also one of the key and important element when has to be followed, right? So product content management is also one thing which we have to be taken into consideration. So apart from product content management, the next is London marketing messaging, of course, especially for international users or something, right? So international users and all that. So London marketing messaging is also there. So these are the different modules we have apart from policy center, billing and claims, which normally we have rating management as separate. At the same time, reinsurance management as separate. Next, client data management as separate, followed by product content management, London marketing messaging. All these things will be there when we are working on the Guidewire add-on modules for all about it. So these are the different modules which normally we have when it comes to the Guidewire is concerned. Now, if you remember when I explained you about the configuration and integration, if you remember, I told you about integration. What is integration? Integration means you can integrate Guidewire with some other applications also. So Salesforce applications, etc. all that. In this regard, there were any other applications also in Guidewire which can be integrated. One of the application is called Guidewire Data Hub. Data Hub means whatever the database management system we have, whatever the backend database do we have, everything comes under Guidewire Data Hub. Means if you want to verify and validate the data, okay, from the existing application database, or else if you want to integrate and standardize any kind of Guidewire insurance, right? So from the third party tools, all these things are comes under Guidewire Data Hub. Means whatever the data management relating to the Guidewire application, everything comes under Guidewire Data Hub. Next, Guideware Info Center. Guideware Info Center majorly used to store the insurance data. At the same time, if you want to query the data, or if you want to analyze any kind of data and all, everything comes under Guideware Info Center. Info Center, like whatever the information management you want to be performed, everything comes under Guideware Info Center is. Next one about the Guideware Live, right? So Guideware Live is the one which is majorly useful for data analysis and visualization, because there is large amount of data which is involved, especially in context to the insurance is concerned. If you want to manage any kind of data analysis and visualization and all, Guideware Live is being used. Next, predictive analytics. Predictive analytics give you the kind of actionable insights what are to be performed. Everything comes under the Guideware predictive analytics are all about. Next one, underwriting management. Means if you want to manage any underwriting standards, policies and procedures, right? So underwriting means you want to identify what is the risk. For example, a person has applied for an insurance plan, okay, applied for. So we have to see whether what is the risk which is involved in it, whether insurance to be issued to them or not, right? So to do that, generally we have to perform some risk assessment, all these. This is where generally underwriting management come into picture. Underwriters will be there who will be taking care of all that stuff. Next, digital portals. Digital portals means whatever the omni service channels we have, right? So all these things are comes under the digital portals were all about. So these are the different things. Whenever we are trying to understand about the Guideware from integration point of view, these are the different core applications which we can integrate with Guideware. So one of the key and important element when it comes to the Guideware development, as I stated in the beginning, repeating the same, we are the one who will be focusing more on the configuration as well as the integration part. Configuration, where according to the business rules and all, we are configuring your application in the organization. So for that, whatever the data migrations and all, everything comes under that category. Apart from that, when it comes to the integration, where Guideware is being integrating with some other applications, so that access of data from one application to another application, developing a communication between two different applications is what something we do here. So this is an overall understanding in context to the Guideware is concerned. Guideware property and casualty insurance application is concerned. Clear to you, Iman?
Yes, not yet, not yet.
Is it clear? Okay, right. So this is all about the overall understanding today. And tomorrow we are discussing about the Guideware Developer, right? So what exactly Guideware Developer is all about. So what are the roles and responsibilities one has to be performed and all, and how the Guideware application looks like. I'm talking about architecture, okay? So how the Guideware architecture looks like. All that stuff that we are going to discuss in tomorrow session. Clear? You can text me if you have any issues with mic. Okay, Mon. See you then. Bye. Okay, Mon. See you. Yeah, I'll send it to you. You can take a screenshot of it. Otherwise, if you want, you can take a screenshot. Take a screenshot if you want. Otherwise, I'll forward it. Okay. Okay. See you then. Bye. I'll forward it. See you then.